Power Book 4, Force Season 3 premiere brings old habits, new enemies and the same old Tommy. Is anyone else feeling nostalgic thinking about this being the last part of Tommy Egan's journey? I know we're getting Power Origins, so technically this isn't the end of Tommy. But this is the end of this version of Tommy, and this part of his journey, and more than any other character in the Power universe, I'm feeling a lot sadder about it than I thought I would. When Power ended, it was a genuinely sad day for fans. Sure, the series had seen better days by the time it was over, but no matter how you felt about Ghost, Tommy, Tasha, Tarek, and everyone else, the series was special. It was entertainment at the absolute highest level, and then, after 6 seasons, it was just over. Of course, we quickly got Power Book 2, Ghost, which filled some of the void, and then Power Book 3, Raising Canon came along and proved that the universe didn't just need to expand forward but could look to the past as well. But as much as early Ghost was a revelation and a showcase of Tarek St. Patrick's growth from bratty kid to full-blown drug dealer extraordinaire, Power Force was the Tommy Egan show. It was the show that would follow fan-favorite Tommy in a new spot, with the same grandiose tendencies and lack of impulse control, surrounded by a new supporting cast of allies and enemies. While the first season was okay, Power Book 4, Force Season 2 was spellbinding. The first season, at times, felt like it was trying too hard, but the second season found its groove and allowed Tommy to be Tommy, and that's precisely what we got during Power Book 4, Force Season 3. When Shanti and Jenard lamented Tommy's 9 lives and inability to die, it felt very much like they could have been any number of people back in New York who took their shot against Tommy but lost, typically in humiliating fashion. Tommy doesn't always get everything right. He's a hothead with narcissistic qualities, just like his deceased bestie Ghost, but if you're going to beat him, it's likely not because you outsmarted him. If anything, it's because he allowed his emotions to get the best of him. When Miguel took Maria at the end of Power Book 4, Force Season 2 Episode 10, I had visions of past Tommy love interests who bit the bullet, and of how scorched earth Tommy went in the aftermath. I'm still not totally sold on Tommy and Maria being some grand romance because everything happened so quickly between them, and I'll never be convinced she's the love of Tommy's life. But this hour proved that if Tommy doesn't make it out of this season alive, it'll likely be because of his forbidden romance. Miguel's the sort of bad guy that's nearly as menacing as he wants people to think. Still, the battle between him and Tommy has become more interesting than his battles with the Flynn family that punctuated the earlier seasons. Maria's involvement adds an interesting wrinkle, where both men are afraid to directly strike out against the other for fear of losing Maria forever, but also hellbent on taking the other out in whatever convoluted way they have to come up with to do it. With this hour picking up right after the events of last season, emotions were high as hell all around, and both men were steadily plotting against the other. But little did Tommy realize all the snakes surrounding him. Tommy's used to being a lone wolf when he must be, and he came to Chicago that way. Solidifying a partnership with Diamond was a good move for him, but neither man has ever been able to fully trust the other. And without that trust, their partnership has always felt on the verge of collapse. Diamond could tell that Tommy was hiding something, but he wasn't able to fill in the blanks until Jenard spelled it out for him. On the one hand, Tommy doesn't need to tell Diamond who he's dating, but you're dating your enemy's sister, something you should let your business partner know about. Diamond had every right to be frustrated with Tommy, but it was all a little hypocritical considering Diamond had just given the go-ahead from Jenard to kill Tommy's nephew. Side note, the minute Tommy finds out there's a price on D-Mac's head and everybody knows about it, but him, will be the day they all truly meet the man who killed Angela and Proctor, and lose not a minute of sleep over it, you would think. Considering the way Tommy escapes retribution at every turn, people would be less likely to keep things from him, but we see every week that's not happening. But the longer this hour played out, the more I began to wonder how long Tommy and Diamond can stay connected, because even after a pledge to be more honest, you know that Tommy won't be able to keep that promise. That he didn't intend to keep that promise when he said it. Tommy's primary focus has always been on becoming the biggest connect in Chicago. If he feels that lying to Diamond gets him closer to that goal, he won't hesitate. For Diamond's part, he doesn't want to be left in the dark, and that makes perfect sense. But it's also not as if he doesn't have his own ambitions and goals in sight. I don't think Tommy and Diamond are using each other, but they've just never been able to trust one another in the way you need to trust someone to have your back in this game. they were never going to be Ghost and Tommy at their peak, or even Tarek and Braden. Instead, there's some third thing, where had they met earlier in life or under different circumstances, maybe had a chance to run things, but alas, they're both in this partnership in name only, not in loyalty. Speaking of loyalty, what the hell is Jenard doing? Every Power series needs an insufferable character, and that title rotates between Jenard and D-Mac on this one. However, since Jenard got clean and has been more level-headed, his jealousy has simmered down, and I can see much better where he's coming from and what he's about. That he held down CBI for years, and he wants the respect he feels he's due from a city he loves and has given a lot to. Tommy's the interloper, and I can understand why he's always been leery and wanted him out. But the beef with Diamond has always been an odd one, and I keep waiting for him to wake up and realize that Shanti is going to lead him off a cliff. Shanti has the kind of laser focus that leaves very little wiggle room. And, for as brilliant as she is, her focus on taking Tommy out could eventually leave her from seeing other moves she could be making. When they never got the call from Diamond about Tommy being dead, Shanti was smart enough to realize that something was off. But even once Tommy showed up alive and she realized their plan had gone to crap, there was no pivot, just more doubling down. As I've previously expressed, my dream team would be Tommy, Diamond, Jenard, and Shanti teaming up to take down the Marquez cartel and fully own Chicago together. And when Tommy and Shanti were ambushed, with Tommy even stepping in to save Shanti's life, you'd think that would maybe flip a switch in her. But I sadly do not see that happening. Tommy confronting Miguel to show him that he was still alive after the botched hit was a power play, and showing up at Maria's to proclaim he won't kill Miguel was the biggest lie Tommy's ever told. Has Tommy ever loved anyone enough in his life to not kill the one person they want alive if it means endangering the very thing he wants most? I think not. Elsewhere during this hour, Vic's still dumb as hell, even if I've started to soften to the absolutely horrendous position he's found himself in. Vic's radar has always been a little off, and he's just as impulsive as the rest of the men in the Power universe, but the way he immediately believed Tommy when he said Shanti was the mole was next level ridiculous. You know how in football, they'll talk about a quarterback having an internal clock and being able to feel pressure, even when it comes from behind them? Vic could be looking a defensive end right in the eye and still not understand they were ready to knock his block off. Stacy tried to warn him, and Stacy's an opportunist, but she's not stupid. She's actually a Fed who could get to Tommy if she really tried hard enough, but Vic thought he knew better until he was face to face with Tommy and Diamond in that parking garage and realized he was seconds away from reuniting with Gloria. That was harsh. But I need Vic to wake up. Now, he's going to be stuck playing both sides between Tommy and Stacy, and he'll probably have to set Claudia up, and I have zero faith in him to make it out of this season alive. If I had to guess right now, odds are heavy that both Flynn siblings bite the bullet before the series is a wrap. D-Mac outside, Power Book 4, Season 2 Episode 10, Vic could get hit from multiple angles, but Claudia's going to try to go against Tommy and Shanti, and she's not going to be strong enough to do it alone. She may think she's got the backing of Ortega, but I struggle to see him putting himself on the line entirely when push comes to shove. So, what did we learn after this opening hour? Everything else you need to know now. How did Tommy not hear Jenard and Shanti casually talking about killing Diamond when he was like 10 feet away from them at the gym? Does that make sense? Tommy reaching out to JP, desperate to talk to Kate after leaving her to die, was a quick little aside, but something that will probably come back around. The JP stuff has been wholly uneventful, but I do want to see Tommy and Kate have the conversations they've been meant to have for years. I won't lie, I'd half forgotten about the whole King Kilo and Mad Dog situation until I saw Big Baby Glenn Davis and remembered that he was on one last season about his nephew. They wasted no time getting rid of Murkovic. R.I.P., I guess. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.